our video recording system to work.
Okay. Let me mute.
Hi, Marty. We're going to be starting in a little bit. For all the students joining us today, we'll be starting in a little bit. We're just working through some technical issues. We're going to be starting in a little bit. Hey, Glenn. We're just all kind of on mute for a little bit. We're just waiting for our IT department to catch up with us. We'll be starting shortly. For our high school students who are joining us today, we'll be starting in a few minutes, just waiting for our IT department to help us out with a technical difficulty. All right, I got word that we're all set, Ashley. If you would like to have us get started, that'd be great.
Sure. All right, I'd like to begin with the pledge to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, let's begin with roll call this evening. With us, we have Glenn Bobeck, trustee, Robin McCreary, trustee, Nicole Novak, trustee. Is Jay with us? I don't see Jay on my screen.
I'm here.
Jay Grover, trustee. Joy Lamarca, trustee. Let's see. What did I see everybody? I don't see everybody in my view. Okay, Cheryl Cardone, assistant superintendent for student services. We have with us Karen Cuddy Miller, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Jude Kuhn, District Clerk, Dr. Brian Graham, Superintendent, Dr. Ruby Harris, Assistant Superintendent for Business and Finance. And I think that's everyone, right? Did I get everyone? Did I miss anyone as far as the board members and our regular district administration? I think I got everyone there. Okay, I don't have any announcements about emergency exits, but if you have a cell phone, please put it on silent so that it does not disrupt the meeting. And you also might want to keep your microphone on mute until you're ready to speak. So approval of agenda. If I could have a motion to approve the agenda for this evening, May 11th, 2020, please.
I'll motion.
I'll
And a
second.
second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion carried 6-0. Okay, moving on to the approval of the minutes from April 21st, 2020. Can I have a motion for that, please?
I'll motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion carried 6-0. We have some recognition and good news this evening. We have our top 10 Grand Island High School seniors to recognize for the class of 2020. Dr. Graham, do you want to?
Yeah, I thank you so much, Ashley. It gives me great pleasure to ask Mr. Loria to say a few words about our top 10 seniors who are joining us tonight at our virtual board meeting.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. It's always my honor every year to introduce you to our top 10 senior graduates. This year especially, I know has been a little bit of a difficult time for our students in terms of keeping up with their studies, but we never worry about these guys. What I'd like to start with is just that, a lot of schools across the country have gotten away from class rank and gotten away from weighting systems, but one of the things I always value is recognizing those kids who are the top students, who are top performers day in and day out. This year, I'm going to read off our top 10 names in no particular order, and then we're going to give them each a chance when I'm done. And last I checked, I think half of them are here today. We're going to give them each a chance to tell us a little bit about their future plans and what they are going to be doing next year. So in no particular order, our top 10 graduates this year are William Atkinson, Sarah Frosalone, Mitchell Facillo, Luke Hess, Victoria Huang, Colby Kelp, Trevor Knight, Lucas Cruz, Sean Christian Rustowitz, and Luke Webb. At this time, I'd also like to just point out the fact that our valedictorian this year is going to be Lucas Cruz, and Colby Kelp is our salutatorian.
All right. Congratulations, everybody. Let's give them a big round of applause.
At this time, we're going to go around, and I'm just going to start because I know William is here. If William can just turn off his mic and tell us a few things about what his plans are for next year.
I am going to be going to SUNY Binghamton for a biochem major and going on a pre-med track.
Nice.
Thanks, William. Congratulations. If Sarah joined us, is Sarah here? Okay. Next would be Mitchell. I don't believe he's here either, but if he is, Mitchell, turn off your mic and you can feel free to join in. Luke Hess. Victoria Huang. Next up is Colby. I know that Colby's here. So Colby, if you could turn off your mic and tell us what your plans are.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to Ohio State for chemical engineering.
Thanks, Luke. Congratulations. Colby, sorry. Trevor Knight is next. I believe Trevor is online as well.
Hi, I will be going to Syracuse University next year to study aerospace engineering.
Thanks, Trevor. Congrats. Lucas Cruz, our valedictorian.
Hi, I'm Lucas. Next year, I plan on attending UB, and I plan on studying applied mathematics and pre-medicine.
Congratulations, Lucas. and Sean Christian.
Hello, I'll be attending UB for environmental engineering with renewable energy specialization. Thanks for having us, by the way.
You're very welcome. And if Luke Webb logged on, let me know. All right. Other than that, we're really proud of you guys. We're looking forward to seeing what you guys do next year. After this year, I'm sure you guys are ready for anything that life may bring you. So congratulations.
Congratulations. Good luck. We also with us this evening, we have the Western New York Education Service Council 2020 award winners, Mrs. Haggerty and Mr. Allen.
I'd like to say a few words if I could, Ashley.
Mhm.
You know, I'm very pleased to recognize Mary Haggerty and Marty Allen for the award of excellence that has been given to them, given to each of them from the Western New York Education Service Council. The Western New York Education Service Council has been in existence for 71 years, and this is the 15th year where they have recognized the best educators in Western New York. There are 5 categories for this prestigious award. There's a superintendent category, an administrator category, a teaching category, support staff, and Board of Education member category. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Mary and Marty for this prestigious honor.
I wish we had a dinner this year. I'm sorry that we don't. It's such a great event. And what an honor to be recognized by the Service Council. There's districts from all over Western New York that submit applications for each of the categories. So it's quite an honor to be recognized. And I feel bad that we don't have a dinner because Mary, you have done so much great work at Kaegebein. You're going to be very missed next year. And Mr. Allen, I mean, my older daughter had you as a teacher, loved you. Haven't said you are just amazing to have as a teacher for band, and you're going to be missed by all of the students, the faculty, staff, Mrs. Haggerty as well. And I just wish we had a great dinner to send you off, you know, because you've had an amazing career, both of you have.
I do have some news, and I think Mary and Marty, the executive director of the Western New York Education Service Council, has decided to try to do this dinner a year from now, sometime next spring. So if you're able to join that prestigious group, that would be wonderful. And if it's okay, Ashley, for Mary and Marty, if you want to say a few words, that would be wonderful.
Yep.
So maybe start with Mary, if you have anything you want to add. I think there you go. Thank you.
It's been a wonderful privilege to serve Grand Island. It's a district with high expectations, wonderful families, wonderful students, and best 18 years of my life, other than my husband. But yeah.
Thank you very much. Marty, would you like to add anything?
I'd echo what she said, certainly. I can tell you that I'm very humbled and honored by this, and I appreciate the nomination for this. And I also want to take this opportunity, because I may never get it again under the circumstances we are, to thank not only the administration and the students, but the entire community of Grand Island for the past 32 years. It's truly been an honor to work on Grand Island. I'm very proud to tell people where I teach, and will eventually have said I taught. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the public comment session, agenda items only. Jude, did we have anybody for that? No, no one for that. Okay. And so now we are at curriculum and instruction with Karen.
Hello. Hi, sorry about that. Didn't mean to jump in on you. Yes, I only have one item, and that is an update with regard to the UPK. As you are aware, we decided about a month or so ago to move to an online registration for our students with regard to the UPK, because our brick and mortar schools were closed. We have, as of this morning, 91 applicants. That's about 20 more than we've seen in recent years. So we're very excited. We think that we have done a decent job of reaching out to the community. That remains open until, I believe, the end of this week. And because we have had such a positive response, we are going to move forward with holding the UPK lottery in a virtual manner similar to this Board of Education meeting next Tuesday as it was previously scheduled. And then that will allow parents to be notified of where their children will be placed if they have actually been accepted by the UPK lottery. And then they can make plans. Those who have not can move forward with making plans for the fall. Now, everything will be contingent in terms of placement upon actual having the original documents that are still required for registration, proof of age, proof of residency, etc. Once we are open again, so that if somebody does not have sufficient documentation, we would move down the waiting list of the lottery. So I wanted to give everybody a quick update with regard to that, especially because we are moving forward with the lottery draw next week.
Thank you. So information. Okay, so moving on to personnel instructional. If I could have a motion to approve PI1, please.
I'll motion.
And a second.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion carried 6-0. And can we go back up to the roll call, Jude, just to have it in the minutes that Sue Marston is excused for this evening as well? Yep. Thank you. Moving on to personnel non-instructional, if I could have a motion to approve PNI 1, please.
I will make a motion.
I'll second.
And a second. Okay, Robin seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion carried 6-0. Now on to the finance section with Dr. Harris.
Good. Actually, if I could just say one thing about Mr. Loria.
Yep.
I know that we will come together with our administrators and supervisors in June to recognize those that have received tenure and those who are retiring. But tonight, I just wanted to make a special mention regarding Mr. Loria. It really does give me great pleasure to congratulate Mr. Loria for being granted tenure by the Board of Education tonight. Over the past 4 years, Mr. Loria has impressed me as an extremely dedicated, intelligent, organized, and caring individual who always acts in the best interest of students, teachers, staff, parents, and the community. Mr. Loria has served thousands of students as a science teacher and coach for 10 years, and most recently as a highly effective administrator for 8 years. Through his leadership as the Grand Island Senior High School principal, Mr. Loria and his entire team has successfully increased the rate of students achieving the Advanced Regents Diploma designation. Additionally, Mr. Loria has demonstrated exemplary leadership in the area of student achievement, community engagement, and influencing equitable opportunities for our students. He has collaborated and developed systems and processes that have resulted in a decrease in the rate of student dropout, as well as an increase in faculty and student connectedness. Please join me in extending that congratulations to Mr. Michael Loria.
And he's also has the best dressed kids. And
He has the best.
How'd you get these kids in a tie and a dress tonight? I took a snapshot. I don't know if I'll get it or not, but I took a screenshot. Maybe we'll get it.
Mr. Loria would like to.
Yeah, I just like to say a few things. First of all, this is my son, Brendan. This is my daughter, Peyton, and they do look absolutely handsome and beautiful tonight, so I'm glad they dressed up. I just want to say 11 years ago about this time, I made a very, very meaningful decision in my life to apply for an unpaid internship in the summer for Grand Island Schools. I know it's been a long time since then. It was before these guys were even born, but I will say that it was probably the best decision I've ever made. It was, when I first became associated with what a great school district Grand Island was, ultimately it led to me getting hired there as an assistant principal. I know I left for a few years in the middle there to learn and grow from another district, but I was very lucky to have the chance to come back as the high school principal. I'm very proud in that position to have the ability to learn from so many amazing people. I'm proud of what we've all accomplished as a team, and I'm really looking forward to what we can continue to accomplish moving forward, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now. So thank you very much to the board. Thank you very much to Dr. Graham. I really appreciate it.
Nice job.
Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, now moving on to finance.
Thank you.
Dr. Harris.
All right, I turned mine up, so you turn yours down. Okay. So this is going to be a little out of order. F is supposed to be removed because that's going to be board discussion, the Sidway Playground. So I'm going to be asking for action for A through C, and then G and H. I'm going to leave the property tax report card and the budget component together after the presentation. So for the first item, we received a donation from Fantasy Island. I know Jude was very helpful in picking those items up for us. Many great things.
You're frozen. Are you frozen? Oh, do you want to just come over and use this? Yeah. Ruby's laptop froze. She's going to use mine.
Even when I come home for check. All right, sorry about that. So we have a donation from Fantasy Island. We also have a $1,000 donation from Locke, Longo, Lamarca, and Brzezinski attorneys for the senior class, which was a wonderful donation. We have the BOCES IPA, which is including desktops and iPads. This will definitely help with our one-to-one initiative that we have going on at the lower grade levels. And then I'm going to skip D, E, and F. G is for obsolete books. This pertains to the middle school, request by the middle school principal. And then H is a commissioning service bid that the district received back that the board should act on, and that deals with phase 2 of the capital project. Are there any questions?
No.
Okay, so I'm asking for action on A through C.
Okay.
And G and H.
Okay, if I could have a motion for A through C and G and H, please.
I'll motion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions?
I'm going to abstain from voting for B, but I'm voting yes for A and C.
Okay, and what about G and H?
And G and H, sorry. G and H
Yes.
also. I'm only abstaining from B.
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so the motion for A, C, G, and H is carried 6-0, and B is carried 5-0 with 1 abstention.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then 2 just informational pieces. I is the check warrants for your review and information. And then J is an update in reference to the solar RFP. We are working with Hodgson Russ on getting this finalized. We are working through the logistics of actually getting access to the area so people can actually do a walkthrough, which is nice to do anytime somebody's going to be building. We usually allow for those people to be able to do a walkthrough and see the logistics. The push right now is for us to be able to have the RFP out, and that would be after the board got to see it. So my hope is on the June 22nd board meeting for you to actually have eyes on the RFP, and then that would go out to the public the days coming thereafter. So definitely before school year ends, but I will keep you up to date. We did want to provide an update because we are working behind the scenes to get this done. Thank you.
Thank you. And we do think that's an important part of the conversation. If we are successful moving forward with the request for proposal for the solar farm that would be on our property between Bedell and Whitehaven, it could eventually be a nice source of revenue on a yearly basis for about 20 years for the district. So thank you for your consideration in that. Tonight we're going to go over the highlights again of the budget presentation that we have previously shared with the board. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask as we go through this. We're going to start, I'm going to turn it over to Ruby so that she can just review these slides one more time.
Okay, so we are going to go over the proposed budget as it stands. This budget looks the same as the budget presentation you received at the last board meeting. So it'll be brief, really. I'm just going to go through. We're going to talk about the bus prop, the proposed tax increase, and the calendar as well. So you will see here that the proposed budget is $64,626,568. Thank you, Dr. Graham.
Sure.
The additions into the budget, or the increase dollar amount, was the transfer to food service, which was $15,000. A lot of the other items, well, all of the other items you see here are actually internal coverage areas. So whether that was through grant funding, through people retiring, or movements happening within the district, we did everything we could possible to make these things happen without increasing the budget. This slide goes into a little bit more detail on the different areas of reduction or change that occurred. This just gives a good picture for everyone to understand how we were able to close the budget gap that you were seeing probably a month to a month and a half ago. That was a little bit over $1.3 million. So that you see a lot of things were placed into grants, and then there were actual areas of the budget that were reduced to allow everything to continue as status quo. This slide here provides you with the different revenue sources. So you have your different aid categories: sales tax, other revenue, and reserves. And this also gives a high level view of the different expenditure areas dealing with salaries, benefits, and really other costs to the district, which is everything outside of salaries and benefits. As you have seen in the last couple of presentations, we have a bus replacement proposition that is a separate proposition that is voted on. This has been reduced to keep it level to where it was the prior year. So this is only $685,000. And you will also see at the side the buses and vehicles that are part of that replacement plan. This slide provides you with the dollar amount change as well as the percentage change in the area of the real property tax levy and the total budget. This also provides our fund balance. I think the most important column to look at right now is the fund balance as of March 31st, 2020, because that is the actual dollars there. And you will receive an update on where we stand with fund balance once the audit occurs in the summer, late summer, early fall. This is the proposed tax rate. So you will see the estimated amount is $20.09 when you look from 1 year to the other. So 1920 to the 2020-21 year, that is a 45 cents increase. And then you will also see what that means for a tax bill on a home that does not receive STAR versus a home that receives STAR. And the overall levy increase is 2.26%. All right. This last slide here just shows where we currently stand. You will see as today that today is the budget adoption date, or what is suggested here is the budget adoption date. We are suggesting the budget public hearing to be May 26th, and the budget vote is June 9th. Just for everyone on this recording or viewing this recording, it's very important that people understand that it is a absentee ballot only, so there will not be coming into the school district to vote, at least as of right now. And it's going to be very important this year to spread the word about the budget, because this is something that will be mailed home to every house. So I believe that the voter turnout is going to increase drastically because of that. Any questions, comments? Okay.
Good. Were you able to hear everything?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Does the board have any questions or comments?
None at this time.
Brian, can you or Brian and can you just kind of explain where we sit with state aid right now and what the governor has proposed and how things may change depending upon, you know, how things play out in the fall and et cetera?
Yeah, excellent question, Glenn. As everyone may know, and if you don't know, this is very important, but hopefully you know already that our governor has indicated that we can expect cuts across New York State in school aid due to the COVID-19 pandemic. If New York, particularly if New York State does not receive assistance from the federal government to close New York State's budget gap of $13 billion. The governor, at least once, if not twice, has stated that cut to school aids could be up to 20%. And that is a devastating number for all districts across the state. For Grand Island, 20% of our foundation aid is over $2 million. So that would be a significant cut if that was realized here in Grand Island. As a result of this news, these statements by the governor, Ruby and I have spent a lot of time talking to the union leaders here in Grand Island, and particularly to discuss this large potential cut. Our union leaders are very willing to work with the district in order to preserve programs for students. So I can assure the board that if the governor does make such a devastating cut to public school aid across New York State, the district will continue to work with and collaborate with our union leaders to look at reducing expenditures. And in particular, Ruby and I want to make sure that the board knows that we would not go into our reserves or go into our fund balance to solve any budget gap without the board's authorization. Glenn, does that help a little bit?
Yeah, well, I think that, you know, what you know, in the private sector, obviously, you know, people are facing financial issues, and in many cases that is resulting in, you know, cuts in salaries and cuts in staff across the board. So I mean, it's positive to hear that, you know, that the union is looking and willing to work with us if in fact there are reductions of state aid, because, you know, as a board member, I'm more concerned about, I'm very concerned about keeping our schools, you know, where they are right now, which is very good. and it's good that there's been positive discussions in that regard. So thanks for the answer.
Sure. Any other
Brian,
questions? Yep.
Just one quick question. When can we expect to hear anything at all from the governor regarding this? Does he have a schedule or a time or?
That's a great question. A couple things that first off, we don't know. We heard that he might make an announcement at the end of April. And that is really why Ruby and I had recommended that we put off, adopting this budget, because we were worried that at the end of April, we would hear some big news. We've heard things like he might check in with the budget 4 times a year throughout the fiscal year. We've heard that he might make an announcement at the end of May. So the things that we're hearing, make us worried, but we also know that there is a strong push for the federal government to provide some type of assistance to all states who've been dealing with the pandemic. I can share with the board that tomorrow, superintendents across Erie 1, BOCES, or Erie County, the nine component districts that make up Erie County, will be meeting with our Congressman Brian Higgins to talk about what a devastating cut could look like with respect to a 20% cut across the state, and particularly in Western New York. So there's quite a bit of advocacy going on, which is good. But with respect to your question, Jay, it's still uncertain when he might make an announcement. The governor might just be waiting for the federal government to put together some type of relief package.
Thank you.
So I'm going to turn over to Ruby.
Okay, so if there are no additional questions, I am asking for action on subject area D, which is the 2020-21 budget adoption, and subject E, which is the property tax report card.
Okay, if I could have a motion for those 2 items, please.
I'll motion.
And a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Objections? Abstentions? Motion carried 6-0. Okay. Moving on to special education.
Yep, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I have CSE and CPSE meetings remotely through Google Meets are going very, very well. So we have program recommendations that if we could have action on those, I would appreciate it.
I'll make a motion.
I could have, yeah. A and B. And a second. Second, I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, moving on to policy. We have some information for first read for policy 5676 pertaining to the requirements of education law 2D.
Okay, so
Which
this,
will, yeah.
this
Go ahead.
is the reason why we did it this way is I know we usually get together with the policy committee first for review. Ed Law 2D actually needs to be approved by the board by July 1. So we figured if we did it today as a first read, that allows us to stay on the course of action to get board approval. Myself and Robin Krychek reviewed this together to go through and make sure that it was to the district's needs. So we made any adjustments that needed to occur, and it's just for the board to review. And if there are any questions, you can ask them now. It will be, I believe, on for second read at the next board meeting. So if you need time to review it and then you have questions, then we'll be able to address them as well. We just didn't want to forget this in the midst of everything else that's going on.
Thank you. Okay, on to the superintendent's report with Dr. Graham.
Good. Yeah, thank you very much. It's a little lengthy today, so a little forewarning for everybody tuning in. I think it's important. We're going to cover a lot of areas today. The first is just what's happening in Erie County. As most of you who are paying attention to this know, 26,783 residents have been tested in Erie County. Of those, 4,484 confirmed cases have been reported. And tragically, there are 357 deaths attributed to this pandemic in Erie County. And in Grand Island, there are 49 individuals who have tested positive for COVID-19. Additionally, Erie County started to share information on antibody testing. I was very surprised and quite pleased to see that almost 20,000 residents have been tested for the antibodies test, and that 7.8% have tested positive for those antibodies. We do know and have heard over and over again that because if someone has tested positive for antibodies, it doesn't mean that you couldn't be reinfected with the COVID-19 virus. So it's good to know if somebody was able to fight it off and they were asymptomatic and now have developed antibodies, but it doesn't mean that they couldn't receive that virus again. In our district, I really want to thank our food service department, Pat Smith, Dan Coughlin, Sonia Little, Mimi, Ariel Fulbright, Mike LaJoy, Fran Fanara, Tracy Sen, Mason El Naji, Nicole Wilkins, Cheryl Domowitz, Tina Blanchard, Christian Holloman, Katie Pollack, and Art Stahowski for all of the work that they have been engaged in on a regular basis, making sure that our children, our students, have access to our alternate meal program. They're really doing a superhero job. So thank you to all of them. I know I've mentioned Mark Gorton several times. Behind the scenes, Mark has been creating wonderful memories of our students, faculty, and staff. He created a celebration of inspiration video. Mark, I think that video has received probably upwards of 1,000 views already. So congratulations to that. And thank you to Maura Rustowitz, all of the teachers and students who participate in recognizing those educators, SRP, GITA, who inspired them. So great job. I do want to spend a minute or two thanking Jude for working so hard. The governor really did throw a curveball to every district across the state. As many of you heard already, the budget and Board of Education vote has now been changed to June 9th, and that the entire voting process will be done with an absentee ballot. For Grand Island, that means that we need to send out 15,600 or so absentee ballots. As you hear these words, typically Jude would process 110 absentee ballots. Now, we not only have to obtain 15,600 ballots, but we need to obtain 32,000 envelopes, create an insert, an affidavit for each of those absentee ballots. We have to take care of course, the postage to mail them out and the postage to receive those absentee ballots. In addition, we have to reorganize our budget hearings, budget newsletter, and any additional publishing requirements associated with the normal school budget and Board of Ed vote, all done in an accelerated manner. In addition, many school districts will be facing the challenge as a result of this new voting process. School districts will receive a spreadsheet from the Erie County Board of Elections. From there, the district needs to create and obtain those absentee ballots and link those registered voters to those absentee ballots. The challenge is that although this is going to be easier for the voter, we may be missing eligible voters in this process. So let's not forget that an eligible voter is a citizen of the United States. They need to be 18 years of age or older, and a resident of our school district for a period no less than 30 days. Since school districts will not know who those eligible voters are because they may not be registered voters with Erie County, I'm asking all of you who are watching this broadcast today to assist us. If you have an eligible voter at home, please consider asking that person if they're interested in voting on the school budget and the Board of Ed candidates. If that person is interested, that person should contact Jude and let her know that they need an absentee ballot as well. You can contact Jude through email easily. It's JUDEKUEHNE, so Jude Kuhn at gicsd.org. So those are just some updates related to COVID-19 and how this pandemic has been affecting every school district across the state. Here in Grand Island, I just want to touch on a few things. I would first like to start with some special recognition for our principals and their teams who've been working to finalize plans for the third trimester report card and the fourth quarter report card and overall report card for our students at the secondary level. Not only are they working hard to finalize those plans, but they're also working hard to recognize our fifth graders who are moving up, to recognize our eighth graders, and of course, those getting ready to graduate. All of these decisions take careful collaboration and are done with the best interest of our students and of course their safety. As you may know, we had to cancel our junior and senior proms. We are also extremely disappointed that they will not be able to have the annual graduation at Kleinhans Music Hall. However, please know that Mike Loria, Mrs. Chamberlain, Mr. Gordon, and others part of this team are working hard to develop a plan for graduation. The plan is going to be developed so that it's safe for our students and their families, but yet has the ability to recognize all of our seniors for the wonderful accomplishments that they have made over the last 13 years. Tomorrow, the graduation planning team will be meeting with our senior student leaders to discuss these graduation plans. Once all the plans are finalized, Mr. Loria and Mrs. Chamberlain will make those announcements to the students and their families very soon. In addition, our principals are currently putting together a plan so that our students can come with their families to pick up their belongings that may be in their desk or in the lockers. The principals are working very hard to make sure that those plans are safe for our students and their families, and they'll be announcing those plans in the days ahead. So finally, as part of our district planning team, we also need to identify the last student day in June for student participating in our continuity of learning. And we also need to identify the last teacher day. We should be able to do that this week. We were waiting to see if the governor had any additional information or guidance, or if the state education department had any additional information or guidance with respect to counting the days that we need to make certain we submit for proper student aid in our calendar. We're getting pretty close to having that guidance, and we expect to be able to make an announcement very soon. So, Ashley, that's a little bit of an update for everybody. Does anybody have any questions about any of those things?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, moving on to the Board of Education report, we have the election inspector for the budget. If I could have a motion to approve Board of Education A.
I'll motion.
Okay, and second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion carried 6-0. And we have for discussion the Sidway Playground. Dr. Graham, I don't know if you want to give a little more information on the Sidway Playground.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to turn it over to Ruby because she has some information that she's been working on with Jim Rosler and Denise Dunbar and several others with respect to the playground.
Okay, thank you. So I wanted to have a discussion along with Dr. Graham surrounding around the Sidway Playground. The Sidway Playground was alternate, I believe, number 6 that the board approved at the March meeting. Through review of all of the documents, we found that there are multiple components included in the response for that bid. So the original approval or the understanding of what was approved was drainage, which I think everybody remembers drainage being mentioned and needed for the playground. The additional component really is the install of the playground. That was really brought up through the contractors because people drilling and piercing the drainage itself. And if anything is off when they do that install, them being able to correct it versus a community build where they would have to come back out and make corrections. So they did respond to a bid in its entirety. What I did not want to do, and I know Dr. Graham didn't want to do this either, is to move forward without the board saying, yes, move one way or the other. So what I didn't provide was, if you look under what I believe was F, is it F in there? Yeah. If you look under F, there was an attachment there that provided the breakdown of the playground bid. And you will see there that, I'm sorry, you will see that the install itself of the playground was only $25,000 of the overall cost of $138,000. One thing that we already knew was going to occur is the mulch component will be on the district. We won't have the company do that because we can get it for less money. So we do know that part. So I wanted to show that below. But I did want the board to have some discussion and provide guidance on how we should proceed with the playground. I think it's
Okay, does anyone have any thoughts on the playground? I know usually it is, does anyone have any thoughts on that?
Well, disappointing we can't do the community build. So am I understanding this correctly then that it's the install 25,000 that's going to be an addition?
So I want to just correct one thing, Jay. It's not to say we can't do the community build.
Okay.
It's to say that the bid that we accepted includes the installation.
Oh.
So we can change order that if that is the direction that the board is telling us to go in. I think really what the concern is with the installation underground, and then you have us come on top and try to put, I'm trying to think of the wording. There's whatever goes underground. I'm really on a blank here. And I knew this so well to ask this question like 2 weeks ago. No, but there's components, like you are drilling, there's things that go underground. There's going to be cement that's also placed underground to make sure everything is stationed properly. So there's concern that we may puncture something, or if the contractor installs something and its number of feet is not correct, that we would have to have them come back out and make corrections. Whereas we're on site doing it start to finish. If something needs to be corrected, they can just correct it right then and there. So the component of the install of the playground was already included with that original bid number.
Just, I'm going to jump in because I know Sue Marston did have some reservations about when we had agenda prep, actually. And I just want to just say to the board that one of the challenges of accepting all of the alternates in this bid is that the district has never used capital project dollars or tax dollars to install a playground on any of its schools. So I think that was something that Sue Marston wanted to have the board have some discussion about that, because once we do it, I would assume that every other playground, whether we're adding on to a playground or whatever we're doing, there may be an expectation that capital project dollars are used for those playgrounds in the future as well. Ashley, do you think I captured that okay?
Yes. I did have a question on how this is different than the other playgrounds, because I know that they've all been community builds, right? Kaegebein was a community build. The other playgrounds before my time on the board were community builds. So how is it just because of the drainage that this is different, or is it just because our May date couldn't happen?
No, that's an excellent
question.
So I believe the regulations state that any playground built on any school needs to go through a capital project.
Yes. And it also, so I'm going to try to say this properly. All playgrounds should be approved by the state, whether you're getting funding from the state or not, because you are building an infrastructure and it will be accessible for children. What I can tell you is the Sidway playground was approved by the state, and I can tell you that the Kaegebein playground is not on record with the state. So that puts you in two very different categories of what occurred or did not occur on the background. Another component I can tell you is Kaegebein originally did not have drainage. We actually had to hire someone thereafter once the playground had flooding issues and do a nice drainage component to make that work. And then our buildings and grounds guys have actually went back in to kind of settle things to make sure it functioned the way they needed it to. So there have been pieces after the fact that have had to occur. But one of the big things is the fact that we went through state education department for what the guidelines say.
So
Thank you.
That might help identify how it's different than any other playgrounds. In this case, we're doing everything correctly. We're going through New York State. We're following their guidelines. The only unique piece, I think the board had already agreed to do the drainage, which was awesome. But because this had other alternates that the contractor said that they would do, we wanted to make sure you were aware of that. And we can hold to the next meeting in June to finalize any discussion on this, but we just wanted to make sure that the board had this information.
I have a quick question. So the $128,000 figure on this breakout, is this in addition to what was already fundraised? This is additional monies that are needed?
Yes, so the fundraise component was for the actual playground.
Yeah.
And those components. This 128 is, if you see here that the majority of that is really the cost of installing the drainage underground. And the edging and the contract work are requirements by the State Education Department. So those were things that were coming back to us once we did the submission. So they were included in that.
And you were saying, and I don't remember, and I have to tell you with Kaegebein, we did not have to do drainage, correct? If I'm remembering.
The initial drainage was not done, but there was flooding that occurred. So after the fact, had to come in and do drainage.
So is it just the plot of land where the playground is going to go, or is it all our land that would need drainage?
It's just the plot of land of where the playground is going.
Okay. So I guess my question is, and I know it's been approved, like where we're going to put it, but I'm looking at $128,000 in extra costs here. So, and I'm just throwing it out there, thinking out loud, but what if we were to put it in a different location on Sidway's grounds? Would we still have this cost?
I believe so. I don't think it's anything about the land being off kiltered. I just truly think the playground flood. And I don't know if it's a Grand Island thing or if everybody is installing drainage. Judah's name on play off to the side. So all I can tell you is based on the recommendation, not only through capital, but also the conversation that we've had with the people that did soil remediation for us. Both sides have expressed drainage as well as building the grounds because they're the people that are trying to clean those situations up when they occur.
So for Kikabine, we didn't take funds from a capital project to fix the drainage there, did we?
No, my assumption would be that that was covered through buildings and grounds.
It was, okay. Do you know offhand how much was the cost was to put the drainage in for Kikabine?
I do not. I can do some research on that.
Okay. I'm just kind of looking at like cost and where we're going to get this. And if we take this from the capital project, I'm assuming we'll have to give something up, right? If I'm understanding.
No. Bids
we have enough.
Very favorable. So, and I don't have it with me, but if you have your notes from the second March meeting, I believe that was the meeting that we approved that. We are doing very well with the bids. So the 138 was already approved by the board, and it was well below what we thought we were going to spend at this point in the project.
Okay,
so that's already.
So we actually have the funds that we would be able to fund this if we agreed.
Yes.
You're saying. Okay.
Without taking away from anything else.
Without giving anything else there. Okay. Or going in the hole. Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay, any other questions regarding the playground?
Good. So we can, Ashley, if you want, we can wait for Sue to share her thoughts too at a meeting in June, or the board could also take action. It's really up to the board.
Well, let's wait till June to wait for Sue's thoughts because I know she's been very involved in that.
Right. Good.
Okay, the next item. Yep. The next item we have here is a Board of Education retreat. We have our super evals to complete with the target date of May 18th. Does the board have any thoughts regarding a retreat before the public hearing on May 26th or the next board meeting on June 8th to discuss the evaluations?
Looking for a date, Ashley, or?
Yeah, looking for a date. We looking for a date to plan a retreat prior to the board meeting, obviously via Google Meet, to go over both evaluations, superintendent evaluation, board evaluation, and that would either be before the public budget hearing on May 26th, or we could do June 8th as our meeting after that. There was a target date put out of May 18th, so next Monday, to complete the evaluations by on SuperEval. So I don't know what everyone's thoughts are about different dates that we could review the information.
I suspect next week Monday is a little quick, given that Sue's not involved, etc. So I would presume that maybe the June date would be better.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Glenn. I would say the June date would probably be better.
I'm good with June.
Okay. All right. Anybody, June 8th then? Oh, Joy, I can't hear you. You're muted. No? Okay. So we'll plan on June 8th, unless anyone has anything else on that. Okay. Moving on to the public comment session. Did we have anyone sign up for that, Jude? Nope. Okay. So now we are on to committee of the whole items and information for the roundtable, starting with Glenn.
I just like to, kind of reiterate what I said earlier during the budget discussions. We're in unique budget times, and I hope that the community, staff, administration understands that. I would hope that, we're not in a position where we lose significant state aid, because I think that affects, what we really want to do as a community for our kids. If that happens, I would hope that, in lieu of, trying to fund it internally, we ensure that we do what is necessary from the staff, administrative costs, whatever it is, to make it right. And I hope that our public understands that today and supports our budget. So that's it.
Thank you. Jay?
I just want to once again congratulate Marty and Mary on their awards, and also all the academic achievements of our top 10 students. So congratulations, guys.
Nicole?
I have nothing. Thank you.
Joy?
I don't know if this is working. I've lost volume here and there. I'm all set.
Okay, thank you. Robin?
I'm good, thank you.
Cheryl?
Yep, I just wanted to again congratulate Mary and Marty, and also wanted to congratulate Mike tonight on his tenure.
Karen?
I'm good, thank you.
Ruby?
I am all good.
Okay, I'm all set. Did I miss anyone? Dr. Graham?
Just check. We're good. All right, good. Just to reiterate, if there's an eligible voter at home, please reach out to Jude and we'll get you that absentee ballot. I think that's going to be helpful. I see that John Roth is viewing the meeting tonight. I know that he and I are very excited, along with Jim Rosler, our principals, and Ruby, to see some work being done with respect to the capital project. If you're able to come over to this property, you'll see that they're beginning to create the staging area for a lot of the equipment and trucks and things that'll be needed to build the multi-purpose sports facility. They're making access roads and getting ready to put the campus construction crew in a trailer. So you're going to see a lot of activity with respect to the capital project. Mr. Fitzpatrick is putting together, along with Felicia Malachi, they're putting together a plan so that students in the middle school will come as early as next week to get things out of their locker or desks. I do appreciate all the thoughtful planning that has gone into that. That will allow the campus construction to move into the middle school by June to begin work on the capital project for the middle school. So I do want to thank Mr. Fitzpatrick, and we'll take lots of pictures to update the community as well as the board to show the progress that's being made on the capital project. And I think even Mary Hadley, I think I saw some supplies maybe delivered for your roof at your school. So things are starting to move forward. And although we miss the kids and miss having students in school, this one bright light might be that we are able to move forward quickly with some of the capital work and not delay the beginning of next year for any reason. So just wanted to share that with the board. So thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple dates. May 26th, we have our budget public hearing at 7 p.m. via Google Hangout. June 8th is the next Board of Education meeting and the retiree and tenure celebration. June 9th is the annual budget vote and Board of Education trustee election, which will be, as Dr. Graham had mentioned, by absentee ballot. So if I could have a motion to adjourn, I think that's it. If I could have a motion to adjourn the regular meeting at 8:38 p.m.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any objections? Any abstentions? Motion carried 6-0. Thanks. Have a good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. You too.